everybody, it's Amy here again. I wanted to take a minute and do something a little different and talk to you about some of the myths that you might be accustomed to hearing. And I'm going to sort of dispel some of those myths today about strength training, especially strength training at home for many of us that are stuck at home during this situation. So as you might have heard, in general, there are some rules about strength training. So if you haven't heard these rules, I'll mention them now and then I'm going to go ahead and dispel them. So generally when we look at muscle growth, trying to increase our strength or muscle endurance, there are three sections or three ways you're going to train. Typically to train for strength, muscle strength, usually you're going to stay really low on your reps, somewhere under 8 rep range. Even 8's getting pretty well up there, and you want to go heavy, as much as you can do in 8 repetitions. Okay, so that's your strength area, under 8 reps and heavy. To get muscle growth or muscle hypertrophy, as it's called, you're going to go into the rep range of about 8 to 12. And again, 12 is being a little bit generous there. So 8, I even like to stick in the 10 range. But with that, it's called moderate rep range with moderate weight. So in that case, you're going to push a weight that will fatigue your muscles in that rep range of 8, 10, or 12. But it's not the heaviest, obviously, because you're getting more reps out of that. So that's going to give you muscle build, okay? Then we've got muscle endurance. Typically, we'll see muscle endurance happen when we're going lighter weight and we're doing more repetitions. So looking at rep range 12 and up. Okay, so when we're looking at that scenario compared to working at home, many of us are working with simple things like resistant bands or light weight because many of us don't actually have full gyms at home and have heavy weights on hand. So we're looking at that and we're saying, okay, so I guess there goes my muscle building. I'm just gonna guess we're gonna work on endurance and I'm gonna get all flabby and I'm gonna lose my muscles. That actually, a new study came out and it's very fascinating. I'm not gonna go in depth because I love the science of it, but I will let you know, new studies have come out to show that people who do high repetitions, we're talking high repetitions, 15, 20, 25, to failure, muscle failure is the key, had the same amount of muscle growth, I'm going to be careful how to state that, muscle growth, as those people that did the lower rep range and heavy weight. Now remember, there is a difference between muscle growth and muscle strength. If we are doing high rep range, we're talking 25, 30, even doing more like circuits for like a minute of doing a certain movement to failure, studies shown you will get muscle actual growth and definition. You will see hypertrophy of that muscle. However, the one thing you will not get when you're doing high rep range is strength. So if people are looking at the sort of aesthetic application of strength training, which, there's the people who want to be strong for their jobs, okay, and whatever life entails. But let's be honest, a lot of us want the aesthetic look of having muscles and looking lean and healthy. So here's the good news. When you're working out at home, you can get muscle growth working in the high rep range. You can achieve your fitness goals. The only thing you might not be able to really plug into currently is increasing your strength, but you can maintain an area of where you're currently at. This is the good news. So don't feel like, oh, there goes all my hard work. My muscles are going to shrivel to nothing. Well, if you sit on the couch, that's probably true. But if you maintain an activity level, plug into my videos every day if you like, do your workouts from home. There's so much content on the internet. The good news is you can do this. But one last thing I'd like to tell you is if you are going to do the high rep range, it can be a little daunting to sit there and count to 25, 30 reps at a time. And so I tend to recommend people to do a length of a certain move, like a minute. So remember early on, I said to fatigue, you probably caught that. That is the key to building that muscle. You do have to do a lot of repetitions, but you do have to do it to fatigue. So depending on the weight that you're using, the lighter you go, the longer you're gonna have to go with those repetitions. I always like to put a combination of workouts together or do like kind of a complex exercise to allow for more maximum output. And then do that in a time frame. So let me show you one quick example, and I'm gonna lower this so you can kind of see me here as we walk back. So let's say I'm wanting to maximize the size of my biceps, okay? So what I'm gonna do here is, let's say I'm doing my typical bicep curls, okay? And I'm going here, So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a nice tight, oh, that's a tight band. So here's the deal. I'm gonna stick with these external bicep curls for as long as I can do to failure. But keep in mind, if you start losing your technique, you're done. That's to failure. Because if all of a sudden you start doing this, we're out of the bicep curls. As long as you can do them nice and clean, you're gonna keep going. And to failure means you literally are going to curl until you just go, ugh, and the muscles just give way. That is true muscle failure. Be careful with some of those muscles. If you do muscle failure to legs, so let's say I'm gonna do some lunges. I'm gonna put some resistance on this, and I'm gonna lunge through this to failure. If your legs give way and you go to failure, you might have an issue walking for the next bit. So if you choose to go to failure for your legs, be aware that they'll be a little useless for a bit. So as long as you're okay with that. So whatever muscle that is. So if I'm deciding to do rows, and I'm like, I really want to work on my back today, I'm gonna get that tension nice and tight, pull that together. This is probably a medium to heavy tension, so this works good for some of those muscles. I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna row. And so I might be sitting here rowing for a good minute or so, but I'm gonna row until I get that burn in my back, until I just can't almost pull anymore. So that's what I mean to fatigue. So for many of you that are, again, discouraged about working from home, there's the good news moment. You can do it, you can still get muscle growth, you can still see that and maximize your output working from home. It's good news. We can do this together. All right, I hope that was helpful for everybody. Have a great day. Bye.